The first time anyone noticed Lily Harper, it was because she wasn't trying to be noticed at all. She always chose the desk near the back window of Westbridge Elementary, her uniform slightly faded, her shoes carefully glued at the sides where the sole had once split open. Lily came from the part of town where streetlights flickered and rent was always late, where her mother worked double shifts at a diner and still counted coins before buying groceries. She never complained. She never asked for help. She simply listened, observed, and did her best. That Monday morning, when a sleek black car stopped outside the school gates and whispers rushed through the hallway like wind through dry leaves, everyone turned to stare, everyone except Lily. Out stepped Ethan Cole, the billionaire's son. His father, Victor Cole, owned half the skyline downtown and had recently donated a new science lab to the school. Ethan wore polished shoes and carried the newest tablet money could buy, but as he walked into class, his shoulders were tight and his eyes uncertain. The teacher introduced him warmly, classmates leaned forward with curiosity, and yet Ethan seemed smaller than the rumors surrounding his name. During math class, when the room buzzed with the scratching of pencils, Ethan stared at his worksheet as if it were written in another language. Numbers tangled in his mind. A few students snickered quietly when he hesitated to answer a simple question. The pressure of being the billionaire's son pressed heavier on him than any backpack ever could. Lily noticed. She always noticed things others didn't, the tremble in someone's voice, the way confidence can crack like thin glass. Without raising her hand or seeking attention, she gently slid her notebook closer to Ethan during group work and whispered, "You just line the numbers up like this, and carry the one here." Her voice was soft, patient, never condescending. Ethan blinked, surprised that someone was speaking to him normally, not impressed, not intimidated, just kind. He followed her steps. For the first time that morning, he smiled. Day after day, Lily quietly helped him. She didn't do his work, she taught him how to understand it. She explained fractions with doodles, turned spelling words into silly rhymes, and reminded him to breathe before reading aloud. She never told anyone. She never asked for anything in return. What Lily didn't know was that sometimes, during pickup time, a man stood near the tinted windows of that black car watching through the school fence. Victor Cole was used to seeing people orbit his son because of money, teachers overly attentive, parents overly friendly, children overly eager. But this girl? She didn't even look toward the car. One afternoon, he arrived earlier than usual and witnessed something that stopped him cold. Ethan had dropped his lunchbox, spilling food onto the pavement. A few kids laughed and walked away. Lily knelt beside him without hesitation, splitting her own modest sandwich in half and handing it to him as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "It's okay," she said gently. "Tomorrow will be better." There was no audience. No performance. Just quiet compassion. That night, Victor Cole couldn't sleep. In boardrooms, he was ruthless. In negotiations, unstoppable. But he had built an empire chasing numbers while his son struggled with confidence in silence. And here was a little girl with worn shoes and steady hands giving his child something money never could: patience, dignity, friendship. The next morning, the school buzzed with unusual excitement. A special assembly was called. Students filled the auditorium, teachers whispering curiously among themselves. Victor Cole stood on stage beside the principal. Gasps echoed through the room. Ethan's eyes widened. Lily shrank slightly in her seat, unsure why someone like him would be here. Victor spoke calmly, his voice firm yet different from the sharp tone heard in interviews. He talked about success, about innovation, about building towers that touched the sky. Then he paused. "But none of that matters," he said slowly, "if we don't teach our children how to lift someone else up." He gestured toward Lily. Her heart pounded as the spotlight found her. "This young lady has shown my son more strength than any business deal I've ever made." The auditorium fell silent. Victor announced a full academic scholarship for Lily through high school and college, funded privately and immediately. He also pledged resources for tutoring programs so no child at Westbridge would ever feel ashamed for struggling. The room erupted in applause. Lily's mother, who had been called in secretly that morning, covered her mouth in tears. Ethan ran to Lily and hugged her tightly, whispering, "Thank you for not giving up on me." But the truly unthinkable part wasn't the scholarship. It wasn't the donation. It was what Victor did next. He knelt down to Lily's level and said quietly, so only nearby students could hear, "You didn't help my son because of who he is. You helped him because of who you are. Never let the world change that." In that moment, the richest man in the city looked humbled by the poorest girl in the room. And maybe that's the real lesson. Kindness is the only currency that multiplies when you give it away. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that even the smallest act can change a life, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more powerful, inspiring stories that prove compassion still exists in this world.